Hey, what is going on, everyone? It's me, Mr. Mario, and right here we're going to be doing something hopefully a little fun here and hopefully breathe some more life into this. This is my second ever RGH. This is a RGH 1 Zephyr, an Xbox 360 console, of course, for anybody who did not know or did not follow. And I did not do the work on this system here. However, it's kind of just laid dormant for a while, and it does work. But this has something that I absolutely hate and despise about it here. And we're actually going to take a look at this. But well, I was going to say that the system still works, but at the rate we're going, we're just dropping fans everywhere. It might not work for very long. But just to show you all that this thing works, we got a glitching back there. Oh my god, it's like a wind tunnel here. I'm going to explain that in a bit. Okay, so there's two. Come on, you can do it. There's three. Did it go? Maybe? There we go. Okay, fourth. Okay, as you can see, there we go. It's working. It's going. We're good at this point. So, this system does work. But why are we doing a rebuild of it here, or why are we messing around with it any further? Well, let's turn this loud thing off. We're going to unplug it from the power, and I'm going to show you why exactly we're doing that. And if anybody's seeing this here, you probably know where this is going. But if not, it's all good. I'm going to explain everything. I've already taken it apart, and I've just been waiting like a couple weeks on this, but so first of all, this is still looking fine, thankfully. Like, this has been unhindered. We're all good there. This is what we're looking at, and this is, this does not make me happy, to put it lightly. So, let me explain what's going on here. These big-ass just screws or bolts or whatever you want to call them, I kind of refer to them as bolts. These are not supposed to be here. These are not on a typical Xbox 360. These are here if somebody or a company has done a repair to an Xbox 360, and there's so many that are out in the wild that are like this, unfortunately. I'm not going to get fully into it. I'm probably going to rant a little bit here while we're doing all of this. This is not good. This is not what you want to see. There's going to be several people who will say that, oh, these things are the issue, the X clamps are the issue, so you got to replace them. That's absolutely not true. That's been disproven. It's been said for years, and thankfully in the past few years, of course, way after the Xbox 360's prime, now there's a lot more research to back that up, of course, like just showing that this is not good for the system. But you'll have many people that say, oh, I did this bolt repair, bolt mod on 100 systems, and they all worked fine. Well, it's a Band-Aid fix. It's not great. This is squishing the components, the CPU and the GPU here. Now, I will say I have talked about this before, and really what I'm doing is I'm going to be removing this, and I'm actually going to be just, plopping these back on. These I had to buy separately because it didn't come with the system here. But this is actually an example of a system that I had bought. At the time, I wasn't confident in my soldering, and my first RGH had busted because my youngest brother had messed with it. Not going to get into that, but I needed a second RGH for, work that I wanted to do here on the channel. So I was able to find one for a good price. I think I paid like 110 or 115 bucks for this, but the seller had ended up lying to me. I requested a Jasper, and they ended up sending out this Zephyr. And then, of course, it was bolt modded because it was a GameStop refurb here, which is what they do. But I've had this system in my possession for almost 10 years. And, I mean, I've played many games. I've completed many games on it, and it's worked. To its credit, it's worked fine. That doesn't mean it's a good repair. That just means that it hasn't... Okay, I thought there was an issue there. That just means that it hasn't died at this point. But I have said before, if you get a hold of one of these systems, if you put the X clamps and such back on, it might not make that much of a difference. Because, unfortunately, any damage might already be done. I mean, I'm even seeing here, like, this is... Everything's just being kind of squished, But I had talked with one of my friends, Josh, or Octal, as many people might know him, who runs Octal's console shop. And I had sent him a few photos of the system, and he said, it doesn't look bad. At this point, he's like, you could probably put the X clamps back on, which is what I wanted to do. So he actually came through, and I want to say a big thank you and shout out to him because I was able to buy some spare parts off of him. I ended up buying a couple X clamps. I got some new heat sinks with these originally intact here, because these do get removed. And he gave me these spare screws that I needed, so I ended up just buying them from him. But that's what we're going to be doing. I'm also going to redo some of the solder work on here, because granted, I'm not the best at soldering, mind you, but what annoys me with this job is that I paid for it. And if I paid for this, other people have paid for this as well too. And I'm kind of more of the belief where if you're going to be offering this as a service, like as a send-in service or an install service or anything, you got to be pretty damn good at what you're doing. You got to be near perfect. So yeah, I guess let's just start working on this thing, huh? So what I'm going to do here first, well, actually, this is what I'll do. Because I have easier access to the wires here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of work on getting these secured down, make sure the system still powers up and everything, because I kind of want to just touch up on the mod a little bit, because I'm not super crazy with how everything looks. So we're going to kind of just clean up the mod a little bit and see what we can do there. So again, this is a RGH1, and even so, it's just like the flux wasn't cleaned off. I'm going to zoom in a bit here. Like if you can see this right here, like if you kind of see just some yellow or some crusting there, that's flux that was not cleaned off. Looks like also this point was bridged. Looks like cap was used, which that's fine. Like the mod itself is working well enough, you know. It's fine. It's still glitching and everything. I'm not going to upgrade it to RGH 1.2. I'm just going to keep it RGH 1 because I'm not going to bother I'm not going to bother doing a dual NAND with this, so it's no concern of me there. And again, it's still working. But yeah, I can just tell that the person who had done this before, and also right here, yeah, if we can look at that, I'm going to kind of show you all. If you can see right there, it looks like there was the solder points there for all the NAND points, but even the flux wasn't super well cleaned off. So let's get to work on this. I do want to start with just kind of redoing the points here, and we can go from there. You know, thankfully, again, I am going to say this, I'm mostly annoyed with this because I had paid for it, and it's not even with me. Like, I am competent enough, I feel like I can redo this now. But there's going to be a lot of people who've paid for service like this who aren't going to know. They're never going to open up their systems. They're not going to worry about this. And if their system breaks on them or something, they're going to wonder what's going on. I'll also kind of cover this as well, too, this whole fan that we're looking at. This is something that GameStop does. On their refurbs, what they would do is they would do that whole trick right there. And they would run up the fan, so they'd kind of have this little... It's a bit of a cleaner setup, you know, but they'd really splice this into the DVD drive's power lines and run the fans at 8.7 volts consistently. So it does keep the system cooler. It also keeps it a little louder. That's why if you've ever seen, you know, fans that are rigged up like this, or you've ever gotten a Xbox 360, not a slim one, but a fat GameStop refurb, and you notice it was a little louder than normal, that wasn't your imagination. That was this here that was going on. Which that I don't mind as much. It's fine for me. But let's go ahead and see what's going on. So yeah, we got that. Just gonna pull that back there. There's even ground points that you can use on. It's, I don't know, this point's kind of nostalgic for me just because this was used as the ground for so long. Before people were really pointing out the ground point on the actual, here on the actual board itself. But yeah, either way, I mean, we got that there, so it's all good. All right, so there we go. We have all the wires pulled back there. That's all good. I might not even have to reuse the wires. Well, I will reuse them is what I'm saying, but let's see here. I do kind of want to get this all, you know, before I even do that, let me get this cleaned up here, just because it's not looking the best. Do that. A little bit of solder just came, like there was just like a solid piece of solder that just came off and fell onto the board there, so that's lovely. Oh boy. Okay, so I think that board is all clean there, so we should be good. Now, what I want to do here is I kind of want to just come in and reflow all these points. Let me get my solder here. And we'll just start working. There we go. We got that. It's been redone. And let me get these other points here. It's going to be the main points. So. Oh, lovely. Those two are bridged. So let's. There we go. Fixed. We're good. We're good. And this wire here, this ground wire, I'm actually just going to get rid of entirely. There we go. I don't really like how that looks. So let's go ahead and get the rest of these here. From what I'm seeing on these, it doesn't even look like a lot of these were trimmed back. Like maybe some of them, but a lot of them weren't even trimmed back, at least when they were applied to the chip here. So that's fun. Just gonna start fresh on this. If I can, there we go. I think that's all good. It's going to be our clock point, which actually, this one I can tell is okay, so I'm not going to touch that one there, even though the hot glue doesn't look the best. But also, in all honesty, I don't really want to retouch it right now. Not really in the mood for that, but this will still be fine. It's still booting up. It's still working, which is all good. Okay, next up is going to be our yellow point, which I'm just going to trim this as well too, because that is like, look at that, that is so much there, my goodness. Something like that. Awesome. And now this red wire back here, which I just wanted to, just gonna get rid of that one completely. Yeah, because these two I'd rather just redo myself, in all honesty, just like completely rewire them. The other ones I've looked at and they seem to be okay, at least in my opinion, but like the points on the board, but these two I did want to redo. So with this, I am going to clean up these points and see what we can do on this. And you know, I'm even looking like, because there's several points there that are also needed to read the NAND, and there's like, they look burnt. Like not like completely burnt off, but I'm just seeing like way too much black there. And a lot less over here, but still. So first of all, I'm just gonna flux this area up real nice. And there's gonna be just 2 points here. So this one, that's gonna be for our power. I'm just gonna run that over again. Let me move this a bit so you all can, there we go. You all can see it now. Something like that's fine. Just gonna come in here and I'm going to there we go. Nope, it didn't want to go through. Why is that? Don't misbehave with me. I think something like that will be fine. I didn't even need all of it, thankfully. So that's good. There we go. Honestly, I'm even going to redo this yet again just because I'm not super thrilled with it. I at least have that on there, but let me see. I'm coming at it at a weird angle too, which certainly does not help, but kind of trying to do this for the video, so. All right, that's a little bit better. Cool. And last thing is going to be our power. There we go. That was easier to do, thankfully. So for our final point, just slide it in there. Actually, you know, I'm going to clean that up because I am not happy with that one. All right, so there we go. I think we're all good. I'm not super thrilled with my job on this, so let me come back over here, redo it. This is actually what I'm going to do. I'm going to trim that further back because we don't need that much exposed wire. That one I did not touch up on. And we're just going to do this yet again. Just a little bit of flux. Clean that up. Over here. There we go. All right, cool. So there we go. I think we're all good from that front. There we go. That one was pretty easy, thankfully. Sometimes typically looked at as a harder one just because there's so many small components near it. And the last one here is going to be this wire, which I really never see used. This is interesting to see here. Anyways, let me just pull this back, do the same thing. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. So something like that should hopefully be fine. Let me go ahead and clean up all these points here as well. Make sure we have it all good. Clean up some of this other gunk as well too. There we go. I think those other two are fine. The only one I'm really not liking here that I am going to attack again is going to be this point. Yeah, because it's just not, it's not great. Okay. Just checking all these points. I think we're good here now. Okay, I'm happier with that. There's a lot less exposed wire there. All right, so we're here at the top. I just wanted to make sure everything was working before we do anything further, because I'm pretty much done with the mod itself, redoing that. I'm not showing you all the ring of light, but just go ahead and pay attention right here to the chip. Oh. All right, come on, come on. Should be 2 cycles there. Come on. It literally just booted. Come on. Let me turn this thing off. Come on. Come on. Turn off, turn off, turn off, turn off. All right, let me just reset the whole system here. All right. There we go. See, when I unplugged it and plugged it back in, 2 pulses or 2 cycles and it's done. So it's shown up, it's booting up on screen. We are all good there. Let me just turn it off again. And I'm going to work on getting everything secured down here. All right, so what I just did real quick here is I spent a few minutes taping and securing everything down. Just using some Captain tape, and hopefully this should be all good here. It's more the bottom I'd be worried about. The top. There's not wires running all over the place. There's just these ones here, so I'm not too concerned about it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to test this out, make sure it is booting and working one more time. I'll actually be able to kind of do this. Yeah, I'll do this so you all can see it. But again, I'll just make sure this is all powered up. Just realized I should probably do it backwards here, so let me unplug that. Make sure we get the fans all set up and ready to go. We should hopefully be okay. All right, and let's try this yet again. God damn it. There we go. It booted. Okay. We're all good. That just gave me a friggin' heart attack because of this right here. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's not going to be an issue once we get it all back together. But either way, I mean, the system pretty much booted at that point. There we go. So now is going to be the final test, because I could have redone the mod at any point in time, but now I'm actually going to undo some work that was done here previously, which is going to be the stupid bolt mod, the Red Ring of Death repair, I suppose. So let's go in and do that. All right, so kind of just to give you a side profile here, yeah, I'm looking, they put one nylon washer on the top and 0 on the... Oh my god. Oh my... What the fuck are they thinking? Seriously. These poor chips have just been getting squished for how many years? Yeah, we gotta save this thing. And I'm hoping... I wonder if, like, the system's gotten too used to all that added pressure, and then when I actually do this properly here, it's going to wig out on us, but let's see. We're just going to... We got to do some maintenance. We got to do TV turn off, for God's sake. I'm trying to turn off my TV here. There we go. But yeah, let's go ahead and start getting to work on this unfortunate wreck. Yeah, this will be fun. Here we go. These look like some pretty big ones, so I got a Phillips size 2 right here. Oh my god. I'm just so disappointed doing this. I'm so disappointed. Thankfully, you all have seen the system works. I can verify the system works. Some people might be asking, well, why mess with it? Because if it works, well, because this isn't how it's supposed to be. Like, you know, I know there's... Microsoft knew what they were doing when they were designing the X clamps and everything. If people are asking, well, why is the system failing? Why does it need this? Typically that was due to an actual chip failure. Like, a lot of the CPUs and GPUs on these 360s weren't really the greatest, and you know, it was typically like doing a reflow was good or doing a reball was fine. But even so, in most recent years, some really awesome people in the community have been researching that further, and it's like, no, actually doing a reball is not great. That's still a decent band-aid, but still a band-aid fix at best. The best fix is really just replacing the actual bad stuff. So that's already left. That's left. Okay. Oh my goodness, this port. It's not looking bad, thankfully. It's not looking like... That is so dirty! What in the hell? Look at that! Oh my god! Like, I've never taken this apart before. We're gonna see. Okay. Like, you're all looking at it right here. I am gonna clean up that old gunk, and this is like the typical GameStop stuff. Oh my god. Oh my god. This poor motherboard. But like when I was saying, look at this. Like, look at all of this right here. That is not just like natural buildup and stuff. That looks like old thermal paste. They didn't even, whoever worked on this so many years ago didn't even remove the thermal paste properly. They didn't like properly clean this. They got it all off just enough to put the new stuff. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm taking a picture of this as well too. I just need to show a few people, but yeah, I'm keeping this part in here. Like, this isn't an editing issue. This is just my raw reaction. Jesus Christ. I mean, I've seen worse. Like, I've seen it in at least videos of like people who don't even clean these off and they just apply them back on, but that's just so disappointing. That again is like, I'm just going to state this again for like the fifth time in this video. I paid for this work, and other people have paid for work like this as well too. And this right here is not mod work. This is from GameStop or EB Games or whoever. So they were doing this shit. There were plenty of other like local repair people and other game shops that were doing stuff like this, but this is just so bad. These are all garbage. Those are all garbage right there. Just what a disappointment. So here's the new stuff that I got. So they're the exact same heat sinks. And I was actually just even asking Octal before. I was like, hey, could you send these things down? And actually, this is an example. Like, I'm going to compare, all right? Like, look at how nice and shiny that is. And granted, I mean, it's been years, mind you. But you could see, like, that looks pretty clean. It has a really nice, you know, finish and everything to it. And then you have this right here. This one, it's not shiny at all. It's dull. It looks like somebody smeared shit on the bottom of it, which I know they didn't. I know that's the old thermal paste. But you can just look. This is how it's supposed to look. This is what I got. And we're going to compare the other one as well, too. Right here. Right here, right here, right here. This is how it's supposed to look. This one's not as shiny. It's going to be kind of dull. But you can see it's clean. And then you got this right here. Hardly any shine to it. Just so much grime. Oh, my God. Yeah, I gotta take, where's my phone? Here's my phone again. I gotta just take, like direct comparisons of these here. Oh my God. Okay, yeah, I'm really glad I'm doing this now, but also, some of these systems just don't die. Some of these systems do not die. So, that could also be why this system was just working fine for the most part. So I'm gonna put those all aside. Now, let's actually get to work on getting all of this done. So I'm going to show you all the parts I have here. Okay. That's just how still, I mean, that's still pretty wet as well too. All right. Okay. Great. Real great. Cool. Well, let me work on getting all of this crap removed. And thankfully I really only have to do it on the motherboard itself. Oh, wow. Wow, okay, hold on. Okay, that's about the most I can zoom in here, but if you can see, like, right here, they didn't even clean out the old stuff properly. Like, it's still gunked up there. It's not hard to do. That's like, this is why I'm so disappointed as well, too. It's like the system got double boned, but GameStop was responsible for it first. Because whether the system was modded or not is besides the point. Like this work was, this right here that I'm working on was botched by GameStop horribly. And so many consoles were like this as well too. So many consoles. If anybody's watching this, if you have ever run into like GameStop refurbs, or if you have been instructed not to get a GameStop refurb, like it was so bad from what I know. It wasn't at any stores like I've gone to, although it should have been. But there was some stores, apparently like I'd heard stories that like some GameStop employees were honest and they would tell people like, hey, if you're looking to buy a 360, do not buy a refurb one. You should get a new one. You could take a chance on a used one. Do not buy a refurb. If you buy a refurb from us, it will come back within a few weeks. And it's because of shit like this. Yeah, they were just one nylon wash on each, like on one side on the top, not even on the bottom of the board. So they were just like crushing these poor chips right here. My goodness. Okay, well, it's fine. We're gonna be rescuing this thing. You know, I swear to you all, I have a little bit of a headache right now, and I can't tell if it's from, if this is GameStop's doing that's causing me the headache, or if this is just maybe the fumes that are getting to me here. I have no idea. I did have my fan on for a bit, and then I turned it off because I was running into, it seemed like it was, I was running into some issues with soldering here. I think the fan was just blowing directly on everything, but throwing all this crap away. I'm going to throw away these damn bolts as well, too. Let's start taking off this nasty gunk. Oh, thankfully it comes, it's wet enough here because this stuff is not, this like white paste here is not great. This is not good stuff. This is like the cheap stuff that's being used here. So thankfully it comes off pretty easy. That's about the only positive with this cheap stuff. There's our CPU. Our CPU can see the light finally. I'm going to have to run over this a few more times. And here's our GPU. Goodness. I was also thinking of this as well, too. while I was gone briefly. It's funny because with RGH 1.2, I mean, it's slightly different wiring and it's different how you build the NAND and such. This is talking about the actual mod here. But I do remember with RGH 1, there was only like one timing file that you install over. It's like, hey, you have this board, you flash this timing file over and you try that out. And as opposed to playing with a bunch of wiring, or no, as opposed to playing with a bunch of timings like you do with RGH2 or SRGH, you played around with the wiring. Like you try different points on the board. If one doesn't work, you try an alternate, or you try different wire routing. I like RGH2 a lot more. Well, RGH 1.2, excuse me. But yeah, because you just felt pretty limited with this stuff here. Either way. So all the big stuff at this point, all the big stuff has been removed. That's good. We're going to get rid of that old paste. Let's do this all again here. And for anybody wondering what I'm using Arctic Clean. This is from the same people who make Arctic Silver thermal paste. Now I know there's different things that you can do. It's... If you ever want to start the most useless war with someone, just start sharing your opinions about thermal paste. I'm not even going to get into that here, but either way, we're going to work on getting all that, and I'm going to try and clean up around the board as well, too, while we're here and while we're just waiting. And by the way, for this cleaning process, I'm just using 99% isopropyl alcohol. I cannot recommend this stuff enough. If I wasn't using 99%, I'd be using 91%, but this is so good. This is just the best stuff. I love it. You know, another thing here that annoys me, so kind of, because I'll tell a little bit more of a story of how I even got this system. So it was, I'm not going to say the person or the business. They're out of business now and they're not in modding anymore. But it was someone like I was mutual with. I wouldn't say they're an online friend, but like I was cool with them for a time. And they had a little bit of a mod shop up and running where they were selling, I think, some chips. They were selling RGH services. They were selling pre-modded systems. And I bought this pre-modded system because it was an RGH 1. It was like 2012, and it was console only like $115, something like that. Like really cheap at the time. That's a lesson as well, too. Hey, sometimes if someone's like way cheaper than, I'm not saying the cheapest option, but if someone's way cheaper than everyone else, there's probably a good reason. I'll just put it at that. And I've seen this many times in my life, not just with modding, but just even with this thing. But there's probably a good reason why. But what happened was this person had a short-lived mod shop, and I was like, oh, well, you know, I'm a broke college student for my YouTube channel. I need my RGH again because I haven't had one for months and months. I'd gone like 6 months without an RGH, and I wasn't confident in my soldering abilities. So I said, you know what? I'm going to order one from here. And he said it's going to get sent out to our RGH specialist. So first of all, he didn't even do his own mods. Like, this guy was based in one state, and he would send these systems out to somebody else. So he had this system, and he sent it to another dude to get RGH'd, and this other dude RGH'd it, and then he would send it to me, and that's when I got the system. So I guess they were like contracted out or something like that, like they had talked in the back. But either way, here we go, got this all clean. There's still just so much gunk that's just in there. I'm gonna go over these one more time. But either way, what ended up happening was he had let me know, hey, thanks for buying this, because I even asked as well too in advance. I was like, hey, could you send it to Jasper? He said, yep, no, sure, for sure. And he sent that out. A few days later, I had gotten a notification like, hey, your system's going to be coming. The system arrived, and I had seen it was this system here. The serial numbers did not match. It was a Zephyr. And then I opened it up, and it was bolt modded. I'm just like, what the fuck? But like, at least it worked. So I was like, okay, sure. I didn't really want to start a fight or anything. I guess I was like, I didn't have the cojones to do that. I'm just going to admit it. Like, I was like 18, 19 at the time, just didn't really want to do that. And I was kind of in more of a situation where I was like, if it works, it's fine with me. And granted, it's worked for years. So, I mean, that's been good. But I really should have yelled more about it. But either way, what happened was I even confronted the dude about it. I was like, hey, you sent me a Jasper. I wanted a Jasper. You sent a Zephyr. What the hell? And it was been bolt modded. And he said, hey, we sent you one of our best systems. What a fucking lie. But he said, we sent you one of our best systems. That one's been reballed by GameStop. So either that guy was completely clueless and he was lying to me, or he was just straight up lying to me. And I can tell you that now, because, well, not only he did, but if you look around these right here, there's like, it looks like there's this like plastic gunk, this melted gunk on these parts here, right? If you can see that. That is for Microsoft. Microsoft is who applies that, because typically if you're going in, you're going to do a reball or a reflow, you'd kind of go in with like a hot air gun and just kind of like blast that with hot air and just kind of pull those back, like you're pulling back some skin or something. But yeah, no, all the people I see who do reballs of their systems, and that's when I'm talking about that, it's like you heat up this chip hot enough, like either of these chips, you heat it up enough so that you're able to pull it off. You clean up all the solder from the motherboard. You clean up all the solder from the bottom of the chip. You then apply fresh solder, fresh flux, and you heat it up well enough where you just kind of put it back together. And I've never, ever, 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 ever seen anyone reapply these. And I mean, I can tell these are stock from Microsoft as well. So no, this system, the closest it ever got to something like that is maybe GameStop overheated it to do their reflow in air quotes. But yeah. So that's disappointing yet again, but we're going to see if we can save this system. You know what? If we can't save the system, if we put it back together and it red rings, I'm just going to say that it was its time. It wasn't meant to be. And that's fine. Because a system like this should not be in the wild. It really shouldn't. It shouldn't be in rotation. It shouldn't be in the wild. That's just my opinion here, if it hasn't been fixed properly. All right, I think I've cleaned these up here about the best I can. I also just went and, while I was waiting on this, at least off camera, I did clean up like the insides of the case and all that as well too, and kind of the fan. Last thing I need to do is the DVD drive, but I think I'm going to save that for last. Really, I just want to make sure like the system is working, and if it does work, we'll clean up the DVD drive, which the DVD drive I've flashed years ago, and it works fine. Okay, there's one issue with it. It still works, but it's like sometimes when you eject it, it just comes out like that much, and you have to physically pull it out, and it's been like that since I got the system. So this system has always been kind of jank, I guess. But yeah, we're done with the remover for the most part here. Oh boy, okay, there's been a lot. There's my, the stuff smells like oranges, so my whole room smells like oranges right now. But let's go ahead and use the purifier. And the purifier is some real good stuff. And this just applies the same way. I do use more of it than needed, in all honesty. It's fine. I'd rather have too much than too less. And I'm going to do the same thing to these as well too, but I'm kind of going to do that last. So really we kind of just let it sit there for a little bit. And the purifier, this step doesn't take as long, but really kind of just go in and clean it off. And these should hopefully be all good. Trying to get this all as clean as I can, but you know what, this system's been so robust where I think it won't even mind if it's like a little bit dirty, but still, just for my own sake here, I would like to keep it as clean as possible and really just try and do it right the first time. So we have a nice, lovely system. Either way, got this all here. I've hit all those points. Very good. All right, awesome. Everything's looking clean. Everything's looking shiny. Everything's looking good. I'm happy with that so far, at least. I am going to move the console over, and I'm going to do the same thing to the heat sinks. Now, I probably don't even need to do it to the heat sinks, but I am going to, just because I can, really. Plus, they were like in shipping and everything, so everything's been removed, but just to make sure they are all fresh just minutes before we apply them, I'm just going to do the same thing. Typically, I'd have to do about the same thing here where I use the remover, but since everything's been removed prior, I don't have to worry about that. Now, with all that done, typically what I do is I use like a paper towel. Just get that all down. Nice and clean. And as you can see, I'm even using like half of a paper towel, so you don't even have to use the whole thing, thankfully. But we have these purified, I would say. So we're all ready to rock there. Oh yeah, those look even shinier now. That looks lovely. I'm going to move those over to the side. Bring the motherboard back over. It's not like completely dry here, but it's okay. Because I am going to apply this stuff one more time. Typically what I do is I like to get it to a point, both the CPU and the GPU. I like to get them to a point where I'm happy with how they look, and then I do it one more time, like the whether it be the remover or even the purifier. So have those all right there, and we'll just do the same thing. Alright, so if you just saw right there and you're just questioning like, hey, did this dude seriously just use a toothbrush on this? Yes, I did. I was looking here and there was just some parts of these components here that weren't fully drying. They just weren't staying dried. And it was because there was still a little bit of that old, like the original thermal paste there. So what I did was I was trying to do my best to clean off, but I just realized, you know what, if I just like lightly take a toothbrush and just go over these, should be okay. But because I have done that, I'm going to use the purifier one more time on here and make sure we can get it all nice and purified. Because I've tried to remove as much as I can. And there we go. That worked out beautifully because it looks like it all dried up. We are all good here. Everything's nice and clean and shiny, so we are ready to apply thermal paste. Now I will show you all what I do, and this is what I do, and you know, I'm sure there's going to be people who are going to disagree with this, but this is what I do, okay? So I get a little bit lazy because I let gravity do the work for me here and just science, but I'll show you all. So for this, I'm going to be using MX4 from Arctic, and let's see here, I'm just going to do something like that on the CPU. That's all good. Then on the GPU, let's do a dot like that, and a smaller dot like that, something along there. A little bit of it got over, but that's okay. A little bit of this stuff is going to go a long way, thankfully. All right, cool. So that is literally all there is to it. And now at this point, this is when I'm going to apply everything. So here, I'm first going to be doing the... Actually, how should I best do it here? Yeah, I think I can do it this way. This will be fine. It's always kind of awkward doing this one, but for our GPU, plop it on like so. I'm going to flip this thing upside down. Yeah, maybe. All right, so there. It was a little bit difficult to get that down. We got 3 of these down, so that's good. Now let me go ahead and do number 4. I can get it like that, but it's like one side's gonna pop off, so. There we go. Okay. That was a little bit of a struggle, but we fought with it successfully, and I think we're good there. We're gonna do this. We wanna come from the top. I'm looking, I feel it. And here we go. So that's been applied right there. So now I need to grab my second heatsink, which is, we're not heatsink, I keep mixing these terms up, but the second X clamp. And we're gonna do about the same. So let me see if I can get them from this side. Yes, I did. Awesome, so I don't have to worry about that as much. And we're going to do the same thing here. That one's down there. And then let's get this one nailed down. Oh my god, that one was so much easier. Okay, cool. So now, goodness, hopefully this works. Hopefully. We'll have to see. I'm just making sure everything's been applied. We should be all good. We got all the proper tension and everything applied. So let's actually try this thing out. My goodness, we're almost at the end, hopefully. Let's try this thing out and make sure it works. Because if it boots up, then I will be quite happy. All right, after all this effort, let's hope this worked here. Let's try this out. So we have power. I'm not getting a glitch. Not getting a glitch. What's happening? I'm not getting much of anything here. Hold on. We're running into this here, which unfortunately I was afraid of. So I'm going to turn this on, which I have not seen before. But the system boots up. Both the CPU and the GPU are getting warm. but there's no flashing green light there at all. And we confirmed together that the mod was working fine before I put the X clamps on. And if I turn it off, the system does turn off gracefully here. So the problem with RGH is once you do this, if you get a, well, there's no air that's coming up, but if you get a red ring of death, the red ring of death air is not accurate. So what you have to do to get an accurate red ring of death air is you have to flash stock NAND onto the system and then get the red ring of death code. I did not want to do this, but what I'm going to do here is we're going to unplug all this. I am going to write the stock NAND to the system. I'm going to disable the chip, and then we're going to see if we can get a red ring of death on here. And, okay. Let's see what the hell happens. Well, again, I can tell you all this is certainly not what I wanted to do, but we'll do what we can here. Alright, so I think I got all of them now. That's good at least, but cool. Turn that off. Now I need to grab my laptop and I'm going to try to flash over stock NAND, and let me also just do this in advance. I'm going to just flip that to program so it's disabled, because you can't boot up stock properly with the chip enabled. But I'm going to see if I can flash this back over and see what the hell we can do. Before we even do that, I'd actually reach out to Octal again, because I was about to flash stock over. Then I realized I don't have a damn stock image for this, and I can't just, put it on the latest, or else, then it's going to split the CB, and I won't have RGH1 anymore, and all that stuff. So when I reached out to him, because it seems like there's a lot of people asking about a infinite flashing green light or a solid green light, but nobody's saying no green light. So there wasn't too much info on that, but he had recommended looking at the clock and the post wires. So the clock one I did not touch at all, unless it's like, I'm wondering if maybe it got knocked around or something. I'm not too sure on that. Let me even see this. I'm going to kind of move it up top a bit. Let me just see there. We can try it out with clock first, and if it's not clock, we can look at post. Nothing going on there. Yeah, no activity. So just going to unplug it, but let's look at the wiring. See if I could just kind of redo those points and what might be happening here. So thankfully this time around we have this all secured, so if I just like touch up on this, hopefully this will be okay. This seems to be a pretty sensitive point here, at least on this board, but regardless, let's try this out. So just going to kind of go in here. I'm just even kind of checking it here, but it's not moving about. Should hopefully be fine. Alright, we can try this out again here. I do need to clean that up, of course. And this point here, I'm wondering if we can even get to this, because this is not the greatest. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to just get enough isopropyl alcohol underneath here. We can kind of just remove this. So this is the hot glue here, which I'm not a big fan of, and I wasn't even going to touch this up initially, but it'd be good if we do that. So thankfully I really don't have to work with hot glue all that much, but this is kind of how you can remove it. Just need to kind of soak it up with enough of this here. But it's not great. I'm not a big fan of hot glue. I've used it on occasion, but I really don't like it. There we go. There we go. I've removed enough of it that I can see the point, and actually that's not even bad. Yeah, that's really not bad. Let me go ahead and touch up on this here as well too. We might as well while we're here. You just barely need any to get on there. But I just redid that point, so that should be all good now as well too. I will, though, kind of move this out of the way. Kind of move it underneath all the other wires. Something like that. Oh! We get instant red light. What is happening there? 0, 0, 1, 0. Oh, shit. Yeah, that was instant. All right, everyone. So I got some good news here to show you all. We're going to fire this up. If you can see the green light back there. There we go. So 2 cycles, and it was able to glitch successfully. So we are all good at this point. So I do want to tell you all what just happened, because honestly, it was a whole lot of nothing. But like I just said, I went over the 2 points there. Big thank you to Octal for that. And then what I was getting was, afterwards, I was getting just an instant 0102, well, no, 0010 error. I'd never flashed back stock on here because, like I said, I don't have a stock image. So what happened was I'd spoken with Octal, and big shout out to him for this again. And he was saying, hey, you probably got a little bit of isopropyl alcohol underneath the HANA chip back here. That's all good. What you should do is just blow on it, like unplug the system, blow on it a bit, tilt it to the side, and leave it alone for like 20 minutes. And then come back to it. And sure enough, I did it for about 30-35 minutes, came back here, turned it on, the fans spin, and after a few seconds they stopped and I got a red ring, turned it off, turned it back on, and now it's booting up successfully. So yeah, that was from doing those points there. I think I could say we are all good. However, again, I do want to start putting this thing back together. So I'm going to unplug this for now. There we go. Oh my goodness, we are almost at the end. We are almost at the end. However, just I want to go in and clean up the points. So this is what I'll be doing. You can see it's going to be right here. Actually, I'll just flip it around. This is the post point. So I'm going to go in, clean that up very gently. Make sure we're all good there. Should be these points here. And the good news is with this, I would say that the console is, right now at least, it is working with the original X clamps in place, which is quite good. So we have all that. I've already cleaned up the clock point right there. I'm not going to move that. What I will do, though, is I need to secure that down. So I'm just going to use a little bit of Captain tape, and I'm going to secure it as best as I can. So I think something like that works fine here. This is what I'll be doing. As opposed to using all of the nasty hot glue right there, I just secured this down, you know, probably about the same as before, and we are all good. That thing is not going to be moving anywhere. Whew, okay, let's get this thing put back together. And here we go. These are the other things I got. I got some screws because we need to actually put the black screws in here. This is one thing, I guess you're finding this out near the end if you've been paying attention, you didn't know about this, but if you open up one of these Xbox 360s and you see 8 missing black screws, that's a sign that it has one of these shitty repairs applied to it. So, no, you want to make sure the black screws are right here and are doing well. So now at this point we have the motherboard. I'm actually going to, now I can put my soldering iron away, finally. But now that we have the motherboard really secured, put in place, and everything is working as expected, I'm going to go ahead and open up this DVD drive, because I don't know if I've ever opened up this thing. I did flash it like years and years ago, so I know it does work, but let's at least see what we can do here. So, cool, we have this. Let's go ahead and get to work on taking this apart. Oh, and here's the weird thing with the Hitachi drives. They got, so just like any of the other drives, they have these 4 screws right here, and then for some reason there's these 2 screws down at the bottom, so how weird. But let's see. These ones are different, so keep track of those. Maybe just at least clean it, see what's going on here. Pop that off. Hey, look at that. I wonder what's going on there. That's a... Unless it just got so hot that it did that. I don't know. I'm just looking at this. That, okay. I see how it is. So the epoxy is, that's a weird way to place the epoxy. Like, this was no doubt done, you know, back in the day to prevent people from figuring out how to flash these drives. But I got this chip here and then another chip right here. And I guess this one does cover up all the pins real nicely, but this one only covers up this side, so that's, I don't know, it's strange. It's kind of a weird thing to see, but, oh, well. Well, thankfully the inside of the drive does not look all too bad. Even inside of here, I've seen a lot worse, I can definitely say that. Actually, that really doesn't look bad. Like, holy shit. There's like one hair there, which we do have to get rid of. That doesn't look bad at all. Wow. I am actually really surprised. Like, even this, like, the belt I don't think needs to be replaced here. I just don't know what the hell's going on with the weird, you know, pull out the drive thing. Well, pull out the tray. But that's the only issue with this. Like, aside from this, the drive actually looks really good. Like, shockingly good for what it is here. So that's a nice benefit of this, I suppose. I'll go ahead, wipe down the laser because I do tend to do that. And even so, these don't even really need it all that much, but I guess I'll kind of come in on the sides and do this. And there's not much else that really needs to be cleaned up on here, thankfully. Wow. Okay, cool. So the drive is quite literally an open and shut case right here, because it's like that, and even that's me being nitpicky, but aside from that, the outside looks really grimy. Like, if you see this here, the outside doesn't look the best, but the inside looks pretty solid. So, oh well. We'll just finish putting this whole system back together and go from there. Oh, and the last part of my order from Octal, I had to get 2 of these long screws here because this one, for some reason, I'm not sure what's up here. This one, I guess, was just busted because the screw really doesn't, you know, it just goes all the way in there. You don't have to actually screw it in. But this console was missing 2 of those long screws, so I ended up getting a couple of those from him too. So now we can at least have a console with no screws missing. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and fire this thing up one more time so you all will be able to see it. But I'd say, you know, the system's been with me for a while. I think at this point it's not leaving me, but I do feel better knowing that this was the last system that had one of these awful repair jobs done on them that I had. This is the only one in my possession. So it's been reverted back to what it was supposed to be. Just double check. Let's go ahead, fire this thing up. Make sure it's working. It better work. It's not allowed to not work now. There we go. Cool. So it's booting up. There was also, I keep shouting out Octal's name in here, but there was also another thank you shout out to him. Even before this, there was actually a RGH Zephyr timing file he had me try. I think that's why I started taking this system apart in the first place. He wanted me to try out a timing file for him, and I was like, sure, let me see if I could do this. And yeah, so now I'm okay with this system at this point. I still need to test it, you know, offline and make sure, like, hey, if I run it for hours, is it going to be fine? But at this point, I do feel better knowing that, again, the X-clamps have been put in place. The system is where it's supposed to be. The only thing that is not proper with the system is the fans are running at 8.7 volts consistently, but honestly, it's going to be fine. That part will be fine. So we are all good with this thing. Very happy. Anyways, that's about it for this video. This is Mr. Mario signing off. Thank you all for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this, a like would absolutely be appreciated. If you didn't like it, a dislike is fine as well too. But happy we were able to rescue this Xbox 360.